I'd also like to share a story on similar lines. I think I have said this before, and this is about a saint who was, seen near a river trying to rescue a scorpion, right? So he tries to rescue the scorpion who is drowning, and every time he lifts up the scorpion bites him, right? So he has to leave him, and the scorpion again falls into the river. And then again he picks the scorpion up to rescue him, again he bites, and this goes on and on and on. Somebody who's watching the saint do this, he comes up to the saint and says, "What are you doing? If he bites you so much, there'll be so much poison, you'll die." And the saint says, "Well, the scorpion, it's his nature to bite. So what can he do? He's going to bite. But also, it's my nature to save him. So what can I do? Both of us are just doing what comes naturally to us. So this is how it's going to be." And ignoring that man, he continues with what he's doing. So, what are we really? Our reality is not this body consciousness, not this body, but this is what we think we are. We don't realize that we are the soul. That the masters have told us, all of the saints, great saints have told us, that there is one life, one consciousness underneath all of this variety of bodies that we see around us. Like we are the waves of the ocean. But what is the truth? The underlying life, the spirit, the ocean beneath the waves is the reality. Now the saint understands that. He knows that there is no difference between him and the scorpion, right? So he knows that at some level, if the scorpion gets hurt, subtle level, somewhere in him also, there is a change. We may feel, "Oh my, he's such a compassionate being." But suppose I hurt my little finger, I quickly reach out for medicine and put that. Will all of you come and say, "Oh wow, Vasudha is so compassionate. Look at how she looks after her little finger"? No, because this comes naturally to me, right? Because this is mine. I feel this is my finger. This body is mine. This finger is mine. So I feel that I need to look after it. If it hurts, I hurt. And this is their consciousness. When we live in the soul consciousness, we start to realize there is no difference. But a lot of times we are like the little scorpion, isn't it? We feel that self-preservation is the best way to be in this world. Even if that means sometimes hurting somebody's feeling, sometimes competing with others, getting a better job than the others, sometimes getting angry at others. We don't want others to, the minute we feel that, our body, our objects, our people, our career is threatened in any manner by anyone, how do we react? Some criticism comes into our mind, but eventually, who are we really hurting? It's, these saints say, really our own selves that we are hurting. And even though this may seem a little difficult to put our, mind around, but intuitively also we know, right? When we have anger, hatred, who gets hurt the most? It's our energy which comes down, right? We feel low. Our energy is contracted. We are agitated all the time till we get some sort of closure. Restlessness comes to us. Swami Kriyananda also said that energy is the strongest at the source. So if I'm always pulling this energy of anger and hatred and jealousy and envy and channeling that into the world, into everybody, who is getting the most affected? I am the closest to the source. And on the contrary, if I channel constantly forgiveness, love and compassion, who is getting the most out of that? Me being the closest to that source, I am the one who's blessed by it, right? But then, we do not really understand this, right? A lot of times if troublesome situations come, troublesome people come, difficulties arise, what is our first reaction? why is this happening to me? A little part of me says, why me? We cannot comprehend. And then a lot of us also feel, मैं तो किसी का बुरा नहीं चाहता, मैं तो किसी का बुरा करता नहीं, I don't really harm anyone. So why is this happening to me? So maybe all of us, hopefully, no, I know that we are evolved enough that we are not going to go and kill anyone. We are not going to get into, fist fights and do violence against each other. So our actions may be all right. Then what is the problem here? So we've all read Autobiography of a Yogi. Yogananda is living with his master, Sri Yukteswarji. And as he's with his master, he's listening to his master, suddenly a mosquito comes and sits on Yogananda. And Yogananda just picks up his hand to swat it. And then he stops. Suddenly he remembers Patanjali, the Raja Yoga course maybe. He remembers the Yama, Ahimsa, and he says, no, I won't do this. But Yukteswarji has seen it. And he says, you might as well complete the act. So he said, what are you saying, master? Are you saying that I should kill? So what does Yukteswarji say? Something very interesting and very profound and very real, and something that we really need to, focus on in our life. He says that once you have thought about it, the deed is already done. The deed is done. Now, the mosquito may differ from Yukteswarji, but what Yukteswarji is trying to say is that for us, more important than the action is the motive and the intention behind that action. So, the quality of our action will be decided by the intentions, the thought behind that action. Because thought is going to create action. Apple seed will make apple trees, right? Mango seed will make mango trees. So what is the quality of thought will determine that action will actually harm us or not. We may think we are acting for others, but will that action hurt me or not will be decided by that thought, the motive behind it. Many of us, we feel, oh, it's a good action, it's fine. Yeah, it does little good, like we are doing charity, but I don't know, you've experienced it. We go to all of these pilgrimage sites in these temples. Rupees 101 was donated by Seth this. So yes, they have done a lot of good deed. We have also done some charity sometime. But what was the thought behind? Was it name, fame? Was it fear of God? What was the whole motive and intention behind that action? That is going to purify or not our own souls. So we've all heard of Rishi Durvasha. I think we've all heard, or no? So he was a saint who was famous for cursing everybody, right? Now I think everybody remembers. So he was famous, and all the gods, to the demons, to the human beings burdened by his curses, would always grumble that, please, any saint except this saint. But then at the end, what would they all say? However his curse inconvenienced anybody, it was always found that that curse had the benefit of everybody in mind. It had divine will behind it. It did some beneficial action, right? So this Durvasha Rishi had purified through tap his will so much that it was aligned to divine will, to his soul consciousness. He lived in soul consciousness. So whatever he did, any action would only prove beneficial, would only be good for the world or needed by the world at that moment. But we also understand that we should purify our thoughts, motives we would like to. But then what prevents us? What really prevents us? These masters say that when our soul becomes identified with this body, we get this personality, Vasudha. We get a sense of ego, right? From this ego sense, we start to work. Even Yogananda, in the beginning when he was with his master, he would say, I only wanted to meditate, so I thought all of these duties are unnecessary of the world. So many times we also find it convenient, Sunday ko mujhe to jana hai Ananda, sab kuch chhod do. You know, Not to say that's a bad thing, but a balance is needed, right? So am I going to keep meditating? Can I even meditate so long? I need activity, I need to do my duties. So this balance is needed. So this again, there was this, the ego whispers to us in such subtle ways that we feel this is the right way to do it. I mean, of course we should meditate, of course we should go to Ananda, that's our highest dharma. But then we have to be very careful where the ego, out of our own laziness and convenience, is whispering something else to us, right? We have to understand that. So I just will end with the story. I'm sure you have all read the autobiography, as I said. So there was this, when Yogananji was with his master, Yukteswarji. There was a disciple who came for a while to Yukteswarji called Kumar, right? And then this Kumar was quick, and master himself said, I was a little slow in my ways. And he saw that his guru suddenly starts to like this Kumar very much, over and above, and indulges him and is so lenient. Otherwise, he's so stern and strict, as we all know Yukteswarji's reputation. So he's like, what would we do? I mean, just with this fact, if our guru started favoring somebody, in our office, the boss favors somebody. I have done all the hard work, and he looks at them. In my own household, if my child favors my husband more, what happens to us? Immediately there is a, contraction of energy. But with Yogananji, what happened? He understood. He said, this is not what I want. I have not come for praises from my guru or indulgences. I have come for something deeper. By and by, Yukteswarji even gives the responsibilities to Kumar. He takes it from Yogananji, the charge of the ashram, and gives it to Kumar. And then again, see the whispers of ego. All the people around Yogananji, all the disciples come, because Kumar is a little tyrannical kind of a person, so they don't like him. So they come to Yogananji and say, I think master is really wrong. You leave here and we will follow you. Don't worry, you just go and we will follow you. And what does Yogananji says? He says, yeah, master's wrong. Let me make my own following. Does he do that? No. He understands that this is the whisper of ego through all of these people that is coming to him. And he says, no, I will not leave my master. You go if you want to. This is precisely why I have come here, to overcome my ego. And I am not going to leave. So when we start to listen to the sense of ego within us, these ego whisperings, that's when we fall from that perfection of the soul, right? But with the guidance of the gurus and God, then we can guide our will. Then we can live in that soul consciousness, because we start to understand that that is where real happiness lies, in the perfection of the soul. Thank you.
I was just thinking that this topic, live in the perfection of the soul, what if I rephrase it? That do not live in the imperfection of your ego. Because frankly, that is what we are all doing. We are, as Vasudha said, we are living identified to this body, to this personality. And frankly, how many times do we even remember that we are essentially a soul? We don't remember throughout the day. We don't remember. We don't even realize that. And I was just thinking, let us see what Yogananji says about the ego and the soul. And I'm going to read out these lines which were written by him. And he says about the ego, it is the soul's subjective consciousness in connection with the body and its relations is termed as the ego. The soul's subjective consciousness in connection with the body and its relations is termed as the ego. And he also says the soul itself, being individualized spirit, must only manifest in undivided relation with the spirit and its qualities. The spirit is unmanifested, ever existing, ever conscious, ever new bliss. So the soul, as spirit's reflection, is individualized, ever existing, ever conscious, ever new bliss. And if we all really are essentially souls, do we really feel this way, that we are ever existing, ever conscious, ever new bliss all the time? Certainly, most of us don't feel like that, because we are so much identified with this body. And Yogananda ji says that it is, when we are in the ego consciousness, we don't stop becoming a soul. We are still a soul, but we are so much identified, this personality, that we are forgetting that we are a soul. And I was really thinking that in a worldly way, practically, is it even possible to not identify or refer to yourself as this identity? It is not even possible to do that. Like tomorrow when I go to work and somebody is asking me, who are you? And instead of saying I'm Sachi, I say, oh, I'm a soul, I'm a spirit. They will think I've lost it. So practically in this outward, in the worldly way, it is frankly not even possible to not relate to ourselves as this body, as this face, as this identity, because that is why how people know us and can relate to us. So then, is it that we always have to be and live in this imperfection as an ego? Or is there a way? They also say that it has taken about 5 to 8 millions of incarnations, after which we have got this human life. And after so many incarnations, again, if we know that we have to again live in an imperfect way, finally, when we have got this human body, when we have got this intellect, when we have got a mind to think, do we want to live in that imperfect way, or do we want a solution? And do we want to live in the perfection of the soul? But how do we do that? To this, Lord Krishna has given us a way in the Bhagavad Gita. And he says that we are placed here in this drama by God, and we have to do our duties. As Vasudha said, we have to do what we have to do. We have to play our parts. But if we can do that with an inner detachment, then we can probably live more perfectly in this world. And with an inner detachment, it means that we play our roles. I am a wife for somebody, I'm a daughter for somebody, and I'm playing the role as a wife, as a daughter, as a friend, whatever. But if we don't emotionally get caught up in these roles that we are playing, then we can live more perfectly. And these masters have shown us that it is possible. And when we are a little bit living in that detachment, little free inside, then we constantly can feel that joy and bliss and can connect with that spirit that we actually are. And these masters have also given us techniques that we can do to really keep that bliss intact and to feel that state of little bit of detachment and still play our roles in this world. And these techniques are being taught here in Ananda, and most of you also know it. There is another thing that we can also do to live more perfectly as a soul, and that is to affirm our underlying unity, that we all are the spirit. We all are coming from the same source. And how do we experience that? And I would really invite that let us close our eyes for a moment, all of us, and feel that there is a brilliant, huge ball of light above you, and there are rays of light radiating from that ball of light above. And now one of the ray of light is entering your body and flowing through your body. The other ray of light is entering the body of the person sitting beside you and flowing through his body. And in this way, all these rays of light are entering through all the bodies that we are in this room and flowing through each one of us. And these rays of light, now this ray of light is also entering and flowing through all the objects that are here in the room, the chairs, the carpet, the frames, the light and everything. Now for a moment, so this ray of light which is flowing inside you, feel that it is the building block. It is the prana, it is the energy, it is the spirit. And for a moment, forget completely of your outward identity and completely focus on this awareness of being same from inside. All of us are same, completely identical from inside and connected from inside, because this light that has entered into us, it is coming from the same source. So in that way, we are not only same and identical, but we are also connected at some level. And really feel deeply this connection. And if we can feel this awareness, even when our eyes are open in the wakefulness, while doing what we are supposed to do in this world, if we can really feel this underlying unity that we are, then it is possible to live in the perfection of the soul. Gently open your eyes, please. And now as you've opened your eyes, and now you see that we all are different faces, we all are different bodies. So again, do you still feel how you were feeling when your eyes were closed? Or completely, we again have that consciousness of separatedness as we open the eyes. But the masters say, and the masters have shown us, that if even when you're opening your eyes and you're awake, if you are tuned in, if you are completely focused, if a part of your mind is focused on this underlying unity that we all are connected, then we can live in the perfection of the soul. It is possible. And Yogananda ji again and again says, and I'd read in his book, he says to affirm again and again that say to yourself, I am a soul. I am a soul. Remind again and again, I am a soul. And there was a time when I'd read it, I was really doing it and I was completely absorbed in it. I'm a soul, I'm a soul, I'm a soul. And I was really feeling that whenever I used to say that, my behavior changed. And the masters say, when you are in this state of awareness and then you act, your behavior changes. The way you act changes. And I really felt it that time when I was feeling I was a soul, I was becoming more soulful. I couldn't help but be more loving. I couldn't help but be more kind. It was changing something in me, and my actions were also changing in that way. And you know, that time I was just standing, and there was one person who just chalte just plucked the leaf of a plant, and I didn't realize it, but I really felt ouch. Like, you know, I felt like that because when you feel in that state of awareness, you feel that connection, you feel that pain also with the other person being harmed. And Yogananda ji, as Vasudha was also saying, I think that incident, that once Swamiji, and he told Swamiji and few others to carry this tree and plant it somewhere else. And they were really rough handling it. And Master Yogananda ji suddenly shouted, you know, what are you people doing? Can't you see it? You know, don't you realize it? it's alive. Like, don't you feel it is alive? Like, he scolded them. And that time they didn't really feel it. But these masters are always in that consciousness, in that awareness. And frankly, that is the goal of the spiritual life. To really affirm and to stay in that awareness of this underlying unity, because that is what the soul is, that is what the spirit is. And if we can feel this underlying unity with everyone and with everything in creation and act accordingly, then we can live in the perfection of the soul. It is tangibly possible. And one of the ways to do it, they have said, is meditation. When we meditate more and more, we come to that state of awareness, and we can stay in that state of awareness, and in that state we can live in the perfection of the soul. It is difficult, but it is not possible, and they have shown that it is not possible by their example. And Master also says that each one of us has the potential, that if we really try, we can really live in this state of complete perfection and live at the perfection of the soul. Om.